I am very happy. We have been waiting for a very long time. Thank God we can finally host the AFCON. Meantime, members of delegations from different African nations for the draws are already in Yaoundé. Rendezvous 7 p.m. this Tuesday at the Yaoundé Conference Center for the unforgettable night in the country of the indomitable lions.
I will take rendezvous at exactly 7 p.m. for the draws. Now, 10 days after the road blockade along the Mbambwe-Fundong stretch, security officers have cleared off all vehicles that separatist fighters use in blocking the roads that links Mezam to Boyo Division. Among those who witnessed the final phase was Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique. He descended on the field on Saturday, warning that anybody involved in perturbing circulation will be severely sanctioned. As we hear in this story with Gladys Ambu Ziba.
After a 10-day blockade, security forces have opened the Mbambwe-Fundong route in the northwest region by pulling off the close to 60 vehicles which separatist fighters used in rendering the road impassable by seizing the keys from the drivers at Mile 10 Mbambwe and at Merchant Village.
Most of the vehicles we can see here are the vehicles from people living in Mbambwe.
On Saturday, the governor was led to the site to see the last actions of the gendarme-led operation.
The operation that have started, they are ongoing and they will continue to secure all those main roads, even the secondary road where the situation is perturbed by terrorists. We came here today to access the station on the side road between Bawanda and Fundong.
17 of the vehicles had already been placed on impoundment at the Tuba Gendarmerie Brigade, amongst them 5 heavy-duty trucks, pending payment of a £1 fee as clarified by the SDO for Mezam. For 10 days, therefore, people to and from the localities along the Mbambwe-Fundong road stretch have been deprived of their routine activities, but for minimum means like motorbikes and cartwheel trucks.
If the road don't be open, then I will probably try to see whether I go reach for that hospital.
Money pay like 5,000. The first time money pay 1,000, and now money pay 5,000.
Governor Adolphe Lafrique has announced that the operation will continue on other roads, warning that anybody working in complicity will face the law, just like the close to 10 drivers currently awaiting trial.
The integrity of Northwest traditional rulers has been questioned in a book written by Father Humphrey Tata, the book that focuses on the involvement in partisan politics that has destroyed the identity was launched over the weekend. Kenyan Henry Atembe was part of the launching exercise. His story.
This 132-page book, titled Forms of Traditional Bamenda and Partisan Politics in Contemporary Cameroon, is a soul-searching piece for traditional rulers of the Northwest region particularly, who have joined politics and abandoned their subjects as a result of the ongoing conflicts, a decision which the author of the book, Father Tata Humphrey Mbue, decries in this piece of work.
Funds in the Northwest especially have been like the matrix of existence for the people. They are the ones who coordinate everything else for the people. And many of them have run away. Many of them took on to partisan politics and caused the problem. And my take is the fund is a chief high priest. The fund is the symbol of unity, a symbol of the togetherness of the people, an incarnation of the people. He's a chief high priest. He should not be involved in any partisan politics.
While launching the book this August 14, 2021 in Douala, Cameroon, Father Tata Humphrey emphasized that there is also need for sustainability to prevent traditional rulers from being corrupt.
Do not sustain our funds, various subjects, as was before. We lend them into the hands of those who can give them money, and that's where they are hijacked.
According to the spokespersons of the Northwest Funds Union, Barrister Tumfo Nico Hale, the publication of this book is timely.
It will help
the traditional rulers of the Northwest to examine themselves, examine their consciences, and ask themselves why they have disappointed their people, why they played into the hands of politicians who used them and dumped them. Because instead of the palace being a safest place in the region or in the village, the palace has become so vulnerable.
Traditional rulers from Baba Wan, Guzang and Bafmen were present at the event.
The current situation in the restive northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon remains preoccupying some journalists who are members of the Development Advocacy Welfare Network known as DON. They met over the weekend to dissect the contours of decentralization law. Kejan Henry Ateme was part of that workshop. His story.
A training workshop for members of the Development Advocacy Welfare Network took place in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon on August 14, 2021 to better understand the contours of the decentralization law. Chaired by its president, Tricia Oben, members of the network dissected the conundrums of the decentralization law as Cameroon is in the process of more power devolution to local authorities. Keynote speakers like Professor Abangma said Cameroonians should expect success in the process, especially with the special status regime, which was a bone of contention during the deliberations. Disturbed over the hardship the people are going through, members of the network are advocating for peace to return and for the economy, which is 95% agrarian, to take off. Plantations like CDC and Pamur, which were the second employers after the government, have been abandoned. Workers are presently napping in the interim, unable to take care of their families and to send their children to school. As the Development Advocacy Welfare Network pushes for a shift in the paradigm, they were briefed on the situation of CDC and Pamur, bedeviled by the crisis. We are committed to bring on board all the active forces of the southwest region to salvage the ordeals of the people who are yearning for peace to return.
Stakeholders charged with the implementation of the decentralization process and the special status in the southwest region of Cameroon have been told to make proposals to government for the process to be effective. They met in Boya to discuss ways and strategies to make the common man happy. The details with Ines Ondwambala.
Actors involved in the decentralization process in the southwest region have been deliberating on the effective implementation of decentralization and special status. Cameroon's Minister of Decentralization and Local Development on a working visit in the southwest region enjoined them to speed up efforts in meeting up expectation of the local population they are called upon to serve.
Of the plan. Today, we are talking of a tool that will allow the council to prepare the regional development plan. What I heard from the council, it appears that they already master the methodology. We want them to have something that is remaining in their hands so that while drafting their plan, it should be in accordance with what the state has stated.
From the National School of Local Administration, NASLA, to Mountain Hotel, Minister George Elangaobam and Southwest Regional Councillors discussed on how to elaborate and to enhance the special status process in the English-speaking Southwest region by writing proposals to the state, amongst others.
Compliance with the goal we are trying to reach in 2025. I must say that the Southwest is the first region where we are launching the methodology, and we do appreciate the potential of the region, and we are quite sure that once the plan is ready, the Southwest is going to take the air and flow and achieve goals where people here in the Southwest very happy.
During the meeting, Southwest Governor Bernard Okaliabilai called on various stakeholders to master their mission so as to achieve the dreams of Southwest inhabitants.
Their special status is a reality, but it be all authorities working.
Minister George Elangaobam stressed on the need to make special status visible in the Southwest region. This through competence and organization, taking into consideration the regional council.
The lifeless body of another teenager has been fished out of the water of the high sea in Cliquez this morning. Just this after another body was retrieved from the sea. The victim went swimming and he made his doom. As we hear in this story with Regina Leketandak.
The remains of a 17-year-old fished out from the sea this Monday morning. The deceased drowned at Ngoye Beach in Cliquez while he was having fun with his friends on Sunday. It's just been days he came for holidays. It's so sad he should go this way. In less than 1 month, 5 persons have drowned in the same beach. A death, one too many. The people are disgruntled and have pointed accusing fingers at the city council, noting that despite recurrent cases of deaths at sea, nothing has been done to ensure security at the beach. Why can authorities not place swim experts at the beach that can advise people on the movement of the tides? I remember in the past, the government recruited some son of the soil who used to walk around the beach and caution people not to go far. But that was not for long because the people complained they were not being paid. The government needs to take real measures to make sure we don't continue to lose citizens. But onlookers at the site have also blamed people who continue going swimming without mastering the leisure activity. First of all, most of these victims don't know how to swim. They don't understand the movement of the water. When the waves come and are going back, it takes you up and can return with you. You who don't know how to swim, you fail to understand when the waves come, you need to rather go left. Calls have been multiplied for a massive sensitization campaign to be carried out at the seaside resort town, especially given despite the deaths, people will still go out to have fun this holiday period.
About 75% of the global burden of sickle cell disease occurs in sub-Saharan African countries. Currently, an estimated 300,000 affected babies are born each year, and more than 80% of whom are from Africa. The growing figure seems to be disturbing. Sickle cell warrior Asho Egbe, who has taken an initiative to train advocates against sickle cell. The details in the following story.
The curiosity of the advocates is enough reason for this medic to tell stories around sickle cell and why people must take preventive measures at the early stage of their marriage.
We want to give them basic knowledge about sickle cell because we want them to go to the community and educate people about sickle cell. And before they do that, they need to have adequate knowledge about the disease itself.
Currently, an estimated 300,000 affected babies are born each year, more than 80,000 of whom are Africans, and about 75,000 of the global burden of sickle cell disease occurs in sub-Saharan Africa. The prevalence rate in Cameroon stands at 9%, disturbing figures that has pushed sickle cell warrior Asho Egbe to create more awareness around the disease. The training on sickle cell disease advocacy, August 14 in Douala, is aimed at educating, sensitizing, and awakening all towards knowing genotypes before marriage.
Community, there are a lot of myths in the community about sickle cell. There is not a lot of knowledge about it, a lot of ignorance, and so the foundation, that is the Asho Egbe Foundation, has this objective of educating and sensitizing the public. To do so, we believe that we need to form sickle cell disease advocates.
Through his foundation, Asho Egbe intends to reach out and empower communities.
There will be a session on counseling for the amateurs, people who are not professionals, because usually people with sickle cell disease have problems. And they usually would need somebody to talk to.
It should be noted in Cameroon, just like in many other African countries, diagnostic facilities and routine neonatal screening is lacking. Reason why most cases are diagnosed late or die undiagnosed.
That has again hit the lower house of Parliament. Honorable Salome Garba's is no more the CPDM, a member of parliament for the Cliquez East constituency in the Central region and member of the Committee on Education, Vocational Training and Youth. She passed on Sunday at the St. Pierre's Hospital in Yaoundé after an illness. She was elected during last February 9, 2011. That brings the number of MPs or dirt MPs at 9, and we'll come back to that in a subsequent editions of the news. The UPC party wants to go back to the drawing board. The National Party wants to grab her lost glory, reason why they are organizing a General Assembly that will hold in the month of September between 11th and 13th. The details with Hyacinth Acha.
There is need to rebuild the UPC party. This, as the CRAP party seems to have lost her claws. What has motivated the desire for change, a rebirth of the UPC party at the political scene?
UPC does not have any elected representative all over the national territory. We don't have mayors, municipal councillors, no parliamentarian. The situation is extremely serious.
Unheard of in Cameroon, past glories all gone. Needs for UPCist comrades to ask the question, how did we arrive at this level of no identity? But they believe they'll be back on their feet.
UPC is immortal tears of the Cameroonian people. We can't talk of her future, regardless of the months, weeks, years. The immortal tears of Cameroonians will triumph.
The executive conference recently in Yaoundé is to work out the Reconciliation Congress, going back to the fundamentals of the party, the different factions notwithstanding. From September the 11th to the 13th, 2021, the date for the Reconciliation Congress.
Today, UPC wants to come back to unity so that we can take what really belongs to us. And as the youths, we know we are the leaders of today, so we have decided to bring our voice so that together we can build back UPC. We can build back that unity that was brought by our founding fathers, Umnyobe, Felix Roland Mumier, De Tumasa. They gave their lives, they gave their blood, so that together we can build this country.
Party cards are calling for the mobilization of militants, for all regions to get the same representatives, the same number of delegates to start from zero. The Congress's opportunity to also prepare the ground for future elections.
And member states of the Central African Forestry Commission, COMIFAC, are currently working on a common ground or stand ahead of the 15th Conference of Parties on Biodiversity. They are currently meeting in Cameroon's economic city, Douala, for a 3-day technical conflict. Kejang Henry Atembe reports.
This is the construction site of the disarmament, demobilization and reintegration.
The 32nd session of the Biodiversity Working Group of the Central African Forestry Commission, COMIFAC, flagged off in Douala, Cameroon on August 16, 2021. Chaired by the Deputy Executive Secretary, Shwaibu Nchupwen, the experts are laying the groundworks for a sub-regional position ahead of the Conference of Parties on Biodiversity.
Is to adopt the sub-regional guideline on ABS, access and benefit sharing of the genetic resources. In terms of biodiversity, is to avoid the loss of the biodiversity in our region. And this biodiversity is a good potential, a big potential for economic and socio-economic development of our region.
According to the experts, the sub-region must be vigilant, especially as the development of the region depends on their ability to negotiate. Negotiation will equally mean taking into account the position of indigenous communities considered the custodians of the tradition.
Our participation in this working group of biodiversity is very capital for us because this is an area where we are going to prepare the common position for the Central Africa, given that the indigenous people are the custodians of our natural resources, and with their traditional knowledge, they have expertise on how to best manage our biodiversity.
The threats on biodiversity are enormous on the sub-region that has a lot of potential. Mining, poaching, road construction, and pressure on urbanization are weighing negatively on the forest and biodiversity ecosystem.
And India has celebrated their 75 years of independence and freedom. And in Cameroon, Indians all converge at the High Commission in Yaoundé under the patronage of the High Commissioner to celebrate the day, celebrating achievements and future prospects of the Indian Republic and bilateral relations with Cameroon. Hyacinth completes that story.
India at 75. India numbers. They answered present at the Indian High Commission in Yaoundé this Sunday, August 15, to celebrate their Independence Day, a day the Indian citizens refresh their spirits of patriotism.
Vande Mataram! Vande Mataram! Vande Mataram!
The celebrations were presided at by the Indian High Commissioner to Cameroon, Sri Rakesh Malhotra, who conveyed the presidential message to the Indian citizens in Cameroon on this special day.
Dear fellow citizens, the founding fathers had reposed their faith in the wisdom of the people, and we, the people of India, have made India a strong democracy.
It was an occasion to laud the brilliant performances of the Indian athletes in the just ended 2021 Olympic Games.
In the recent concluded Tokyo Olympics, our sportspersons have brought laurels to the nation with their stellar performance.
While celebrating enormous economic, social and political achievements of the Indian nation, President Ram Nath Kovind challenged the citizens to adopt stringent measures to move their activities forward, greatly hampered by the COVID-19 pandemic.
I wish that all of our people come out of the difficulties caused by the COVID pandemic and move ahead on the path of happiness and prosperity.
A true moment of communion, cutting of the independence cake, exchanges and presentations on some key symbolic elements of their nation, and of course, a taste of the Indian melody.
And ex-separatist fighters in the southwest region of Cameroon will soon relocate to Tico sub-division as work is ongoing on the project site of their lodging facility. The national coordinator of the Disarmament and Demobilization Center, Fayengo Francis, has called on the technicians charged with the project to speed up works and meet up with deadline. As we hear in the following story with Ines Ondwa Mbala.
This is the construction site of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center of the Southwest region. On the site, technicians and engineers are working hand in glove to deliver quality work, respecting deadline and terms of contract.
For the 30th of October, the project will be done, everything will be closed. The only thing we will have to do at the end is the 5% of the total project will concern only the external work, with the stadium, with the road, with the vegetable and everything to make the project better, to have a good way of life inside.
The execution rate of this project today stands at 65%. The project is expected to be completed on October 30, 2021. The national coordinator of the DDR, Fayengo Francis, went to the field evaluating work done so far.
I'm very pleased today in your company to see the structures that are put in place already. We visited them and they've assured us that they are at 65% of the work. And they've also assured us that by the end of November, we're going to come to receive the work. So my appreciation is absolutely very positive, and I want to use the opportunity to thank the contractor. I would like to profit then to send a message, first of all, to the children who are already out of the bushes, that they should be proud that the head of state promised this infrastructure and it is there, and they should be ready to profit from it.
Fayengo Francis congratulated those involved in the execution chains, before urging them to speed up effort so as to meet up with the October 30, 2021 deadline. In less than 10 weeks, ex-separatist fighters of the Anglophone crisis who are currently lodged at Bostal Institute in Boya will be relocated here in Tiko in their permanent site.
And we have come to the end of this edition of the news in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is the brief with Kati Mukuri. They will be talking on the draws of the Total Energy Cup of African Cup of Nations. It's a program you should not miss because she has special invitees that will provide you with analysis on the Total Energy African Cup of Nations. You have the draws live on Canal International. For me, it's a goodbye. We'll be back tomorrow for another edition of the news in the English language.